All right, welcome to the show. My name is Dan Lear, and welcome to the Business of Love. All right. Keep it down. I want to introduce you to my co-host in business and in life, Miss Jennifer Lear.
Hi.
Hey, I guess it's not Miss, is it?
I can be.
Okay,
and
girl,
people
we're gonna
still
run
call
with
me.
it. We're gonna run with it.
People still call me Miss. It just happens. But yes,
There you go.
I would be Mrs. Lear if you're
Yes,
going to
you would
be
be.
appropriate. And we just celebrated our anniversary, so I'm Mrs. Lear for 9 years. How do you like
Happy
that?
anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you too.
Can you believe you actually been married for 9 years?
No, in fact, it's so funny because for the first 5 years, I'd wake up every day and say, "Oh my God, I'm married." For wasn't it at least 5 years? I was saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm married. I really am." Holy moly, I did that. Okay, yeah.
See, guys, see what happens here? It wasn't even possible in her mind. Then all of a sudden now she's
Well, it was possible. I just didn't think I'd ever do it.
I'm just
so
teasing.
I actually did it. But now it's fun. Yeah. So 9 years, 11 years together.
Wow.
And having a fantastic time.
So what'd you do in your anniversary?
Oh my gosh. I filmed the game shows when I did on my anniversary.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So during the day I was at the game show. So we filmed this game show, which I can't talk about because you're under, firm disclosure, non-disclosure rules until the episode airs. And so we did that, but I got home early. I got home around 3:30 or 4, and we had an amazing steak dinner. We grilled out at home and just had a nice home time together. But I came home and there were these beautiful flowers and these two individual bundt cakes that we each got to eat, red velvet. Yeah, it was really fun. It's wonderful. It was just really quiet and we just relaxed and had a great night. We just talked and connected and it was really wonderful.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was actually as if we were dating.
Exactly right. And then we kind of took that into, because it was Thursday, so we took that into Friday and really through our weekend. It was just a wonderful connection weekend, I think.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So happy anniversary to you.
Happy anniversary to you too.
You're looking beautiful and better than ever.
Thank you.
So listen, today, baby, we're going to talk about some relationship myths.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is called The Business of Love. This podcast parallels the similarities between business and love. So for instance, in business, we see entrepreneurs, CEOs, VP of sales, administrators, HR directors. They'll do anything to help them do what they do better, or connect with this person better, or climb the ladder for success, or manipulate the situation and find ways to improve. And if we did the same things in our intimate life, in our intimate relationships, we'd find success there as well. So what we do is we just talk about situations in business that we can relate with and apply them to our intimacy. But today, we're going to talk about some relationship myths.
Yes, and I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, and we're going to relate that back to business.
Yep.
So you're fired up about this.
I'm truly fired up about this.
Okay, let's
because
talk.
there are some things I don't agree with that I've always heard, and I love that we're talking about this today.
Awesome. So let me break this down. So we're going to talk about 3 myths today. And the first one we're going to talk about is don't go to bed angry.
Yep.
All right. So a lot of experts say you should never go to bed angry. These are relationship experts, and we have Amy Serin, who's the co-founder and chief science officer of the TouchPoint solution. She holds a PhD in clinical psychology. She believes otherwise, as do we. And she says that never go to bed angry is bad advice, because many couples think they need to force themselves to try to resolve problems immediately to get them over before bedtime. This can backfire because if one or most of the partners are angry, it's best not to discuss it until things calm down.
Absolutely. And I love that she talks about this because, it's something that I think everybody gets the advice from some old married couple when they get married, just never go to bed angry. And I disagree with that. I think I understand what they're saying. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. So it's more like never go to bed without telling your partner you love them and that you need some time. So if there's a disagreement that comes about, because I know for myself, I will get, if I need sleep, or if I'm out of balance somehow, need nutrition, my hormones are kind of funky, I know the best thing for me is to go to sleep that night, wake up in the next morning and have a whole new fresh vision and whole new attitude on what might have happened the night before or the day before or whatever. And but most important is for me to communicate. So I think the biggest thing here is never go to bed without communicating. That's the important part. So whatever that communication is or what you need to connect with is what's important. So meaning that I cannot communicate to you why I'm frustrated about whatever just happened, but what I can communicate to you is I love you. I will always love you. I need to go to sleep because I don't feel well. Or I'm irritated, I'm frustrated, doesn't mean I don't love you. Let's chat about this in the morning. I think I'll be in a much better place to do that. And so that's so healthy to be able to do that. That way your partner's not wondering what you're thinking. Your partner knows, okay, they're having a bad day. They don't feel good, whatever's going on. And yeah, we all make mistakes and we'll talk about it in the morning, or the next day. But it's really about don't go to bed without communicating.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. And I can see how in my previous relationship, I'm that kind of guy who I would buy into that advice and say, I like that advice. And I know that it's not good advice because in my previous relationship, my ex-wife maybe didn't have the skills to handle the situation right away. Mm-hmm. So maybe I wanted to address the situation and kind of get it smoothed over because I want to go to bed feeling good. Mm-hmm. But she is maybe doesn't have the ability to kind of push through kind of the fog and get to the other side.
Or the emotion.
Yeah, the emotion. That's what I'm getting at. So where I would attempt to do that, it didn't work because she wasn't in that place. And so, no disrespect to her, just different people. So I agree with what you're saying. I don't agree with the relationship experts here because I totally believe in what you're saying is that don't go to bed without communicating.
Right.
And find a solution that works for you. Yeah. But because for me, I wanted to fix it before I went to bed.
I'm sure.
But my ex-wife was not able to do that. And so it would cause me to get frustrated because, she did not have the ability or did not want to do it, either one. I'm not sure. But it ended up affecting me in a negative way. So I love what you're saying. And I think if I would have had that strategy in the past, I would have... it would have helped me.
Yeah. And I think knowing yourself here. So knowing yourself and your partner. So, if you were more aware of maybe that possibility with your ex-wife and knowing, okay, she needs some time to cool off because in the morning it'll be fine. And I've always also gone by the rule of, you let things unwind. Things get wound up, right?
Yep.
By emotion, by frustrations, by filters. And the law of whether it's physics or chemistry or any other law out there that I'm not putting a right name to, it's in the reverse has to happen. So if it gets wound up tight, eventually it has to unwind. And so oftentimes time is that ingredient that needs to be involved there. So wait until the next day.
Yeah.
Waiting the next day.
I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I like that. And if we're paralleling business, like if I'm the VP of sales and I've got maybe an issue with my boss, and there's an upset, maybe you want to go fix it right away, but that's not how it works in business.
No.
Like you just said, you kind of just play it out.
Yep.
You're going to maybe get together tomorrow morning and you're going to fix it or figure it out. Mm-hmm. Or if maybe I'm a VP of sales and I'm having an issue with one of my sales reps, maybe I want to get it fixed. But the reality is in business, what we typically do is we assess the situation, we address it, and then we handle it.
And you schedule a time to handle it, right? So, which is important too. So sometimes maybe you can't talk to your VP or the person above you or below you right then, or even the next day. Sometimes it's Monday at the meeting. And so you have to take time to really, and then it's great because you can put your thoughts together and really rationalize. Okay, why did this upset me? What was really happening here?
Right.
Am I out of line?
Yes.
Right. And I think those are important things for business, but I mean for relationships. But it's interesting in business, we will have that buffer zone. We don't react right away. In a healthy business person, healthy business environment, you don't react right away. You look at something and you go, that's interesting. Let me think about that and let me assess that and then bring that up, at the next meeting or next time. So bringing those same rules and tactics and ways into your relationship would be very valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a great step. Is like in your personal relationship, even though there's emotion attached, then think about addressing the situation, assessing the situation, and then handling it, which means putting together a game plan. So that could be the next day, it could be Wednesday at 6 p.m., it could be whatever. But just understanding that if you have an upset and it's right before bed or it's in the mid-evening, you can always, like you said, just say, baby, I'm not in the right place to talk about this right now, but I want you to know I love you, and let's talk about it tomorrow after work. Would that be okay?
And we've done that, both
Yes,
of us,
we have done
before.
that.
Yeah,
Yes, we have done
thankfully, which is good for us. Because I certainly don't want to talk to you when I'm in that state,
Yeah.
because and sometimes it's just being tired or hormones or whatever, but you have to pay attention to that. So
Yeah.
good.
So awesome. So that's first myth, don't go to bed
Yes.
angry. So
Yes.
we're going to put that one aside, all right? Okay, second myth. This is interesting, right? This is interesting. I want to hear your take on this.
Okay.
And the myth of a relationship is always be forgiving,
Right.
right? So this expert that I'm quoting here, I'm sorry I didn't put his or her name down there. It says, you always need to forgive is bad advice, right? That's what this person is saying. For someone in a relationship who's being emotionally or physically abused, obviously,
Right.
if someone that does something needs forgiving, then the burden of change should be on them, not the person who was hurt. But can you expand on that?
I will expand on that.
'Cause
So-
it's a little confusing, I think.
Right. So there is that. So we have to be forgiving of our partners in a healthier relationship, right? Not when things are abusive. That's aside from that.
Yeah.
But in a healthier relationship, we do have to be forgiving of idiosyncrasies, of mistakes, of bad days, things of that nature. You can look at your spouse and go, I know he's had a rough day, or I know she's had a rough day, or I know that her nerves are on end, whatever, and then give her some grace. So really it's about giving grace. But as far as forgiveness, the reason I don't like this, because if you love someone, I love you. And I love you in all of who you are, good, bad, and indifferent. I don't have to forgive you for anything. It just, it's almost like, can I give you grace? Absolutely. Can I take something aside and say, okay, let me get curious about this? And so one of the things I like about replacing this language is get curious about something. Don't just go give forgiveness, because there could be habits. So if you forgive somebody, if you forgive your partner in your relationship, what happens if they keep doing that over and over again? You keep forgiving them. Well, you've just given them a super long leash, and now it's a habit. And now they treat you like that all the time. So I'm not keen on that. That creates a codependency,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
But I do want you to get curious of something. So if something happens and they treat you in a certain way that doesn't make you feel good, I want you to get curious about that and say, okay, what was that about? Okay, is this something that I can excuse this one time? Okay, note to self, if this happens again, I need to say something, right? So it's about a discussion. So it's really about having that communication, and that, what happened yesterday didn't make me feel good. And I'd like to chat about this. Is there something that I need to know? Are you frustrated with me? Is there something else underlying there that we can chat about? And really going back to some of our skills that we've taught before. But it's about the layers of not just forgiveness, because it's so superficial on one level. It's about building relationship and trust, and laying those foundations of partnership and working together and communication. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. And so, again, putting this in the parallels of business, right? It's not about forgiveness. Like if I'm the VP of sales and my sales rep is maybe they didn't do the right thing. Maybe they did the wrong thing. Maybe they talked to a customer incorrectly. Maybe they didn't hit their numbers. Whatever it is. It's not just about forgiveness, right? It's okay you didn't hit your numbers. I forgive you.
Right.
I mean, so think about it in that respect, right? So you don't just say, oh, it's okay. Let's try better let's do it better next month. Oh, it's okay, right? You have standards, and you have, like you said, if you were just curious, I'm just curious about why you're not hitting your numbers.
Yeah.
Then we can find a solution.
We'll go to the root cause, right? Why did this happen? And then you can find a solution.
Right.
So yeah. I agree with you.
Right. So, I mean, forgiveness, it's kind of like common sense. I mean, you forgive people for certain things, like error of judgment, or, geez, I didn't think about that, or, oh, yeah, this, that, and the other. But, when there's action-oriented things, and you've got to, instead of just forgiving, you've got to take a look at what it is. And like you said, get the root cause, ask yourself questions like, I'm curious why that didn't happen. But if you relate it to business, and if this was a business situation, what would you do? You want to curb behavior. You want to assess the situation, figure out what's going on, and then work on making the behavior different. We call it curbing behavior in the clinical psychology world.
Right.
So,
so because if it's just plain, one last thing, if it's just plain forgiveness, like I said, you can really create bad habits on both sides, and then neither person will grow. Relationships can be messy, and,
Yeah, they are.
and should get messy a little bit, right? Because or else neither party grows.
Yeah.
But if you're having those conversations, getting curious, and then working to fix things, then you become stronger as you go, and you
Right.
also both grow as human beings and adults.
And the other thing I don't like about that always be forgiving is like you said, it creates, I don't know. I mean, it just makes it okay for everything to transpire. You know, I mean, it's okay that, that you came home drunk last night, work on it, maybe see if you can get better.
Right,
I mean, you gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you're always forgiving, I mean, because the question is okay, so what if you're unhappy with the way your husband's acting and you're always forgiving, but you're not happy?
Exactly right.
So then you're going to not be happy because you're not standing up for what you want in your heart, or you
Exactly.
don't agree with his or her behavior.
Exactly.
So, again, think about if you're managing a sales rep, or you're the CEO and you're developing leaders, how would you handle that situation?
Yeah.
And that's a great way to look at it, because you really want to help the person grow.
Absolutely.
Because if you can help the person grow, then there's more of a connection. And that's really the key. So forgiveness, like, it's okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of
Bad
relationships
advice.
that end in divorce could have been helped early on by having that communication, right? And by really being best friends. And because if you're marrying your best friend, you can tell him anything.
Yeah.
And you have that relationship,
Yep.
that understanding.
Yep. And what we all know is when we get married, we have two imperfect beings that are together. So there
100%.
are issues along the way. So yes, forgive, but yes, it's not
Communicate.
just forgiveness. It's about communicate, be curious, uncover the root, implement some changes. I mean, because the bottom line is, if you're not happy and the person keeps doing it,
Yes.
you're not going to stay in the relationship. At least we wouldn't want you to do that, right? So myth number 2, always be forgiving. Out.
Yes. Get curious instead.
Right. Okay. Myth number 3.
Yes.
This
All
is
right.
it. This is really interesting. So, you've heard this myth before, that dates are like job interviews, right? So you got to go out and
Yep.
put your best foot forward and do the right answers and make sure you say all the right things. The job interview. And so.
And I disagree.
And
so
you
does
disagree.
this person. Yep. Again, yeah. So
Okay, on the surface, it makes sense to treat the first date or the first few dates the way you would, face a job interview. In both situations, you're looking for a good fit that benefits both parties mutually, often for the long term. But heading into the first date with a notebook of pointed questions for your future husband or wife is not the best strategy. So we've got this sexologist and relationship expert, Noni Aya. She said there's a better way to handle it. And she said her top dating rule is to date as if you're meeting a new friend, not a potential spouse. So what are your thoughts on that, Jennifer?
So I love that. I love her point on this, because I feel like when you meet someone, you're like, oh my God, it's going to be the husband of my dreams. As the man
This
gets
is the guy.
This is the guy. You go in there with a different attitude. You go in there in a different way. So Chris Rock years ago did a special, and he did this bit on when you're dating, you don't go in as yourself, you go in as your representative. It's your representative that's showing up. It's the person that is your best you on your best day ever. And you show up as your representative for all this time, but eventually the real you is going to come out. And so I just love that. He's like, don't show up as your representative, show up as you. And that's the thing. So if you're meeting a new friend, somebody that you just want to connect with and be yourself, you're going to hold yourself differently. You're going to be different. You're going to have different conversations. You're not going to get nervous. You're not going to hope or worry that he or she doesn't like you for this or that. You're just going to be yourself. And you know what the great thing about this is that if that person doesn't like something that you're talking about or presenting, you'll find out sooner than later. So if you look at that person and you're holding yourself together because it's a potential husband or wife, and then 6 months later they find out these things about you, well, you just wasted 6 months. And so if you can just be real and be honest and be yourself on those first few dates, then that person, you're going to find out exactly who that person is and what they think of you, about you and your habits and what you like to do. So it just creates a whole different way that you show up. It creates a whole different comfort level as well.
It's kind of just like kind of counterintuitive, right? Because socially, with the social media, everybody's putting their best foot forward and posting pictures of themselves being successful. No one's posting pictures of themselves feeling like crap in the morning.
Right.
Hey, this is my morning face.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
This is what I really look like on a Saturday morning. But and that's the point, is that we're always putting our best foot forward, and I think that's hilarious about the Chris Rock going to sing the representative to the
that's the way he said it. My representative
to the date to represent me,
representative.
and put my best foot forward. I love that. And what's interesting too, because that's so true. You talk about people in corporate America, and they're interviewing people.
Yeah.
People come in with their best self.
Yeah.
They're not even close to what they're really like, because anybody can sound good for a day, and anybody can put a great resume together. And so that's why in corporate America, they're doing things a little different sometimes now. They're taking some of their hiring prospects out on almost like field trips.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, just just casually doing it.
Yeah.
To spend like an afternoon. Maybe they take a group of them.
Yep.
I've heard of companies taking them out car racing in those little go-karts.
Oh, interesting.
Just, hey, we're going to have a little pre-interview meeting, and just to see how people respond. Are they really competitive? Are they nice?
Yeah.
Are they engaging?
That's brilliant, because, like you said, you don't know in a 15, 20-minute hour interview how somebody's going to handle adversity. They can go, oh, the way I handle adversity is, but when you get them into a difficult situation, that's how they'll really handle adversity, or, anything else that might happen to them. And so knowing that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then there's people like, what's his name? Entree Leadership, Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
So Dave Ramsey, for them to hire anybody, they have 20 interviews. 20. So it's like a 6 to 9 month process to get interviewed to hire.
Some people have been married for 5 years and haven't had 20 dates.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, but they do that so they can really get to know a person and how they are, and can they handle it? Can they really be that person? So, yep. I love this, all of this.
That's interesting. So, I know that it's always a challenge, and even in the online dating, people are always putting up, it's not a representative of who you really are, The fake pictures, the slim pictures, the mountain climbing, and the closest you got to a mountain was looking at a picture of Camelback Mountain.
That's hilarious.
It's really, I totally agree, but it's so hard because there's so much pressure.
Yeah, there is.
Because you have limited opportunities. You meet somebody. Oh, I'm having a date with somebody that I just might like. Mm-hmm. So you get ready, and you're a little nervous about it because it's the market might be small. So there's some pressure involved. But like you said, it's counterintuitive, because if you're not yourself and then they end up liking you, and then all of a sudden it's not even you, then you're screwed anyway.
Exactly right.
So it's just such a weird thing. It's just so healthy to be yourself, and to go out and do who you do. Do yourself, I guess,
Yep, I love it.
And that's one of the reasons when we talk about our kids, how I feel so proud of them, just because they're really just real people, and they're not caught up on the social media and projecting themselves in a certain way, and they're what you see is what you get, which makes me happy.
Yep. So we have a summary for our show here.
Yep.
So in summary, it's don't go to bed angry. Is the relationship myth, and we firmly disagree. Oftentimes it's good to let things cool down and wake up with a new attitude, but it's important to communicate. So definitely let your partner know that, hey, I love you. I just need some time. We'll chat about this in the morning.
I like that.
Give him a kiss. Go to bed.
I like that. And by the way, you do that, and you're the one who introduced that to me. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Aw, thanks. It was to save you.
Thank you.
It really was. The second one is the second myth is always be forgiving. No, it's not quite about forgiveness. It's about the reality of the situation. Get curious, find out the root cause, and then work towards a goal to fix it.
Yep.
And then the third one is dates are like job interviews. People are too stiff if you think you're meeting the person of your dreams, and even still the job of your dreams. Just relax, be yourself, because if it's not a good fit, you really do want to find out immediately, rather than 6 months, 9 months later, or after you're married, that you have to then be the person that you portrayed when you were on your dates. And so just be you, relax, and enjoy like you're meeting a friend.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Jennifer. Great job. And for those of you who haven't been watching the podcast consistently, we have for those of you who are looking to level up your relationship, we've got our Vegas weekend getaway for couples to come in. We have 10 couples. We put them through an exclusive 2-day program to help them level up their relationship with communication strategies, intimacy strategies, language, and really teaching them the tools that help Jennifer and I have this blissful relationship for the past 9 years. Right, baby?
Not always blissful, but most of the time.
Hey.
Definitely always in love. Don't mislead.
Hey, it's not misleading. So I
But
think,
amazing relationship, yes.
yes. So anyway, thank you for joining us. The Business of Love. You can go check out their website at thebusinessoflove.vegas, businessoflove.vegas. And we'll see you there. My name is Dan Lear. That's Jennifer Lear. We are out of here.
We are.